Site. Location.
The newly married couple selected the site for their new home with meticulous care.
Vigil. Wakeful watching.
The hunter maintained a discreet and wary vigil, as he waited for the propitious moment to bag his quarry.
Cumbersome. Unwieldy, burdensome.
With rancor, he faced the cumbersome job of transporting the voluminous records to his new office.
Interrogate. Question.
Before they began to interrogate the criminal, they had to admonish him that his testimony might be used to incarcerate him.
Divulge. Disclose, reveal.
Even under duress, he was adamant and would not divulge the secret.
To take a leaf out of someone's book. To imitate or follow the example.
The chip off the old block took a leaf from his father's book and never sowed wild oats.
Another plan. Robert was far from tranquil as he waited in the lobby for almost an hour after the performance had begun. Disgruntled, he quit the site of his vigil. He had to face the fact that he was making no tangible progress. Tomorrow he would telephone several women's residences. It was a cumbersome way of going about the hunt, but it was all that he could think of at the moment. He would interrogate the desk clerks, and perhaps he might uncover a pertinent clue to Evelyn's whereabouts. If he could only get someone to divulge her hiding place. Perhaps tomorrow would culminate in success.
Week 34, Day 2. Fluctuate. Shift, alternate.
The current trend in the stock market is for stocks to fluctuate in a sporadic fashion.
Unmitigated. Unrelieved, as bad as can be.
He wasn't exactly an unmitigated liar, he merely embellished the truth a little.
Commodious. Large, spacious.
In his sumptuous house, he had a commodious den, in which he kept an array of trophies, as incontrovertible evidence of his skill.
Antiquated. Out of date, obsolete.
Is it banal to say that good manners are antiquated in our milieu?
Disheveled. Disorderly clothing or hair.
The nondescript, indolent beggar was in a disheveled condition.
Brass tacks. The real problem or situation.
After some moments of congenial levity, they got down to brass tacks.
A hope dashed. The next day, Wednesday, saw Robert become more frustrated. He would fluctuate between high hopes of finding Evelyn and unmitigated despair, when he was almost ready to desist in his search. The phone calls had elicited almost nothing. Robert had rushed to one women's residence, when the clerk described a girl, who might just be Evelyn. The desk clerk phoned to her room on the pretext that she had a special delivery letter. Robert waited in the commodious lobby, replete with large, antiquated pieces of furniture. He watched from a discreet distance, as she came down the stairs. One look at her wan face, slovenly dress, and disheveled hair was enough to inform Robert that he needed no further scrutiny. This could not be his impeccable Evelyn.
Week 34, Day 3. Tenacious. Tough, stubborn.
He held on to his antiquated beliefs with a tenacious obsession.
Facade. Front, superficial appearance.
His face wore the most doleful facade.
Asinine. Silly, stupid.
How asinine of the boy to fabricate that bizarre story.
Grimace. Facial expression of disgust.
She could not abjure a grimace when she saw the disheveled figure.
Calumny. False accusation, slander.
The woman was noted for her vituperative calumny against her innocuous, although senile, neighbor.
Hook, line, and sinker. Completely, all the way.
The teacher fell for the practical joke hook, line, and sinker.
To the police. Thursday was his next to last day. He had been tenacious in following up every lead. Now he was behind the 8 ball. He could hardly galvanize himself to do anything else. The facade of hope he had worn for almost a week was crumbling. There was nothing left to be sanguine about. In desperation he turned to the police, and placed his problem within their jurisdiction. They asked many questions, and they requested that he not expurgate anything. Some of the questions seemed asinine. When they inquired about his relationship to the missing girl, he replied, with a grimace, fiancée. When they suggested she might be hiding in that part of the city where the punk coterie congregated, he was incredulous and accused the police of calumny against her good name and reputation.
Week 34, Day 4. Pittance. Small amount.
The tip he had been offered was a mere pittance, and the taxi driver threw it on the ground in disdain.
Au courant. Up to date.
Styles are such transient things that what is au courant today is archaic tomorrow.
Fastidious. Particular, choosy.
He was so fastidious about table manners that he lost his equanimity when his son reached for the bread.
Noisome. Foul, unwholesome.
It was inevitable that they discover the hidden body by its noisome aroma.
Unkempt. Untidy, neglected.
Children think mothers are asinine to get upset about unkempt rooms.
Lily-livered. Cowardly.
The lily-livered gangster got cold feet and spilled the beans.
Evelyn discovered. Failure was imminent, and Robert was bereft of hope. It was now Friday. Despite his abstemious and parsimonious way of living, his money had been reduced to a mere pittance. A perverse impulse brought him to the section where young people in strange clothing and with uncouth manners made him recoil in unmitigated disgust. He had never been au courant with the hippies and punks. He was always fastidious about proper dress and behavior. A moment later he saw her. Evelyn. She was sitting at a table in a coffee shop, surrounded by a coterie of the most noisome individuals he had ever seen. Evelyn was not incongruous, for she herself was unkempt. So this was her new habitat. At that instant Robert knew as an incontrovertible fact that he had lost her. With a grimace, he turned and walked, a doleful and melancholy figure, toward the bus depot and home.